It's funny how everyone except our African leaders has a problem with the Chinese invasion of Africa. Recent news indicating that our president went and borrowed another $10 billion from that country has been met with resistance. Because who's going to repay those loans? What happens if we default on those loans? Because I don't see how employment creation with borrowed money is a long-term solution for our country's problems. 2.3 million people, and with all our natural resources, we can't even break even. Something's got to give. We don't grow or manufacture much. We rely on South African products, and now the Chinese are here with their cheaper substandard products, and even our cats and dogs aren't safe. The president called the media to the State House for a briefing.
Now, just to explain, the African Development Bank debt, that's the budget support plus the project funding, is part of the debt figures of the budget as tabled. So that is not additional debt if compared to the budget ceiling. The 10 billion from China is now for the next 2 MTEF periods. We have lived 1 year, so it's for the next 5-year period. And it is very much within sustainable debt levels. We have now, yes, a debt level of 43%. It depends on the currency fluctuation, but it is thereabout. The benchmark that we have set ourselves to make ourselves always having the ability to pay back that debt is our debt should not grow significantly higher than 10% of our total income. And that is where we are. We make sure that we always have enough income to pay our debt. So defaults should not occur. I'm very confident that we are within that benchmark. We are not overstretching it significantly beyond that.
I spoke to the PDM's treasurer about these loans and just what their implications could be.
There is a lot of things that runs through one's mind if it comes to this money. And also the question that must be asked, what is the agenda of China borrowing these huge amounts of money to African countries? It is suspicious. It is really suspicious, and it's worrisome. Because there must be an agenda. You don't borrow this type of money to people without knowing where you are going, what you intend, what is your intention with this money. So I'm just scared. We hear a lot of stories coming in, what's happening in other countries, China taking over harbors, airports, sports stadiums, roads, railway stations, etc., etc. So this worries one even more. So I think the government, the president must come clean on this thing. We want to know. We really want to know what's going on. It's a little bit unacceptable, or to a large extent unacceptable, that the president, go and borrow money on behalf of Namibia without informing us beforehand for what that money is going to be needed or going to be used for. I'm not very much in favor of borrowing money, keep on borrowing money. In some other stage in one's life or in business or in a government, you have to borrow money. You can't just, generate your own money, every cent that you need. You have to borrow, but then you must borrow within your means. Otherwise, you will not be able to pay it back. Now, our debt are already so huge, and if we keep on borrowing money, and we don't know for what that money is going to be used. Is that money going to be used to create jobs, to balance the budget, now the midterm, because I think we are in serious trouble. The Minister of Finance will have to come with his midterm report, midterm budget. Where it was supposed to be a midterm report, it now turned to be last year a midterm budget, where he's coming and asking more money halfway through the year, asking more money. So is that money going to be used to finance this midterm budget? Is that money going to be used to pay our debt that's so huge that we can't afford, to pay from our own means? Now we have to borrow money to pay the debt back. All those kind of things.
The PDM's Nico Smith made it very clear that it's going to be you and I that will be scurrying around here under pressure to service those loans, the terms of which we aren't even aware of.
My problem is how this money is going to be paid back. And what is the term? Is it 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? And or is this government busy to indebt the youth for the next 20 years? That the only thing that they will have to do is to pay debt back, and not to develop the country, and not to improve the quality of life of our people. If money is to be borrowed for housing projects, especially to service land and to make land available, especially urban land, to young people and also people across the board, to erect their own accommodation, because my position is that you can't call yourself a Namibian if you don't own a piece of Namibia. You can only be a real Namibian if you own a piece of land. Then you can say, this is my country, I'm part of it. But thousands, hundreds and thousands of our, especially young people, are just hanging in the air, just renting. There's no possibility that they will, within the next 4 or 5 years, own a piece of land. They will just keep on renting and enriching already rich people.
I saw this post online which illustrates just how uncomfortable this country's citizens are with our dealings with China. They done flipped the daily prayer, so let us pray. Our China, who is in Asia, holy is your money. Your corruption comes, your will be done in Africa as it is in Asia. Give us this day our daily bribes and forgive our greedy as we forgive your citizens who exploit our people and your nationals who don't pay tax. Give our dull children scholarships so that you can lay your hands on our resources. Teach us tricks how to rule forever and give wisdom on how to suppress dissidents. Lead us not into transparency, but deliver us another fat check. For the resources, the people, and the tenders are yours forever and ever. Our resident voice of the people, Cecilia Chirico, is up next in Cecilia Says.
I think it's a good thing to take a loan. When something is not going well, you need money. So you have to fix something with money. But I just don't know why are we taking a loan from China, because I don't know in return what will they ask if we don't pay the money back.